Hey folks, this is Waylon Lewis with elephantjournal.com, and I'm here for our daily Facebook Live session. So we do a couple minutes of meditation every day. It's nice to meditate every day. And we do a couple sort of mindfulness tips for everyday life. So one thing that we all go through, which I love to talk about, is stress. Because we all go through it, whether we're parents or in college studying, freaked out about social relationships, whatever it is. We're such a crazy busy kind of country. So I wanted to talk about a couple things that Buddhism, mindfulness generally recommends for how to deal with stress. And if any of you have questions about stress that you're going through right now in your life, that would really help me be able to specifically talk to you and know who I'm talking to and where you're at. So if you have any stress that you're going through in your life, if you could do me the favor, in this video the favor of describing it in the comments, sharing with your fellow elephant mindful community folks, and say where you're from in the world. And I will try to directly respond to you. So throughout this, also, we'll leave links in the comments. That's me typing. We'll leave links in the comments for any helpful resources on Elephant or otherwise for anything that comes up. Because Elephant has hopefully some good resources for this. So right now, I'll tell you, I had a meeting at 8:30 a.m. with a dear friend. And we're going through a situation where basically we're losing our managing editor, Emily. She's going to grad school in Scotland. So if any of you are in, I think she's going to Edinburgh. If any of you are there, she's going to need some pals. She's the sweetest person ever, and we're super dependent on her intelligence and caring. And we hired her out of our Academy program, elephantjournal.com/academy, if you want to learn about mindful communication, social media, how to rock Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We've won #1 in the country twice on Twitter for green, but I won't go and get into commercials. But basically, it's a 4-month training program. We hired her out of that, and she, at the age of like 21, somehow 22, became our managing editor. So she's fantastic. But she's leaving, so we're losing kind of like 20% of what makes Elephant successful. And so we're looking desperately for new apprentices, graduates of the Academy, new editors to hire. So I had a meeting at 8:30, I had a meeting at 9 to go through basic flow for the website, how you subscribe. And we talked about all kinds of stuff. I had a different meeting, and then I had probably like 3 pretty chaotic, intense meetings here where we're going through super basic stuff, and the sort of financial health of Elephant is on the line. And that's going to determine whether I can pay people. You know, we have 23 staff and I really care about them. So there's all kinds of stress, and I can feel it right here in my heart. I have a cool vintage tee on. I'm into vintage clothing when it's not too stinky. And so that's why I wanted to talk about stress, because luckily I was born and raised in this Buddhist community, and Buddhism is really good at dealing with that kind of anxiety or stress, the kind that keeps you up at night, the kind that shortens your life, basically, the kind that makes you look old before your time, and the kind that makes you lose your temper with people or get depressed instead of being present for your life. So if you have anything that you're going through in terms of stress, do me the favor of writing about it. And Laura, Jessica, etc., if you can say where you're from in the world. It's always fun to connect. So right now, if you look at the map of, we can do this, I don't think you can, of where elephant readers are reading, it's all over the map. It's India, Australia, Dubai, all over Europe, Africa, and America right now. It's pretty cool. Obviously, there's smaller percentages of readers are elsewhere, but it's pretty cool to see. All right. So I'll just list these things, and then I'll try and talk about them both specifically and generally. So Jessica, big love to you. If anyone can give her a like, even though it's kind of meaningless and symbolic, it's also just sharing some love, and love is an important thing for community to share when people are having a hard time. So Jessica, Your grandma was just diagnosed from cancer, and it looks like it cut you off where you were saying where you're from. Or I can't read the comment. Vicky, almost qualified as a nurse, struggling to cope with the pressure of juggling family life. And you're in Scotland. Yeah, so that's a classic one that we're learning, that we're progressing in our work life, but it's so hard to balance with our relationships, with our children, with our friends. Heather, how do I process the stress of becoming a disabled person in the near future? I have an inoperable spine tumor that will take my legs eventually. I'm in Portland. Big love to you, Heather. If everyone can give her some love. And I'm going to talk about these in a general way first. Laura, can't find full-time job in my field, single parent, freaking out, right? There's nothing more scary, even more scary than going through something ourselves, is seeing someone we love and we're concerned that we can't help them. So give Laura some love, people, please. Jessica, you feel your anxiety so strongly. Yolanda, Wisconsin. Hey, Filza. You and Sin in Wisconsin should connect. Rachel from Portland. I think we have 2 people. Now we can do a little dating service through the comments, or a friendship dating service. You can be go on friend dates. Kate, getting through a life change and Bikraming my way through it. Yeah, yoga can be super helpful, obviously. We'll talk about that in a kind of specific way. Single parent, have fibromyalgia, but still try to stay happy. You're in the UK. Joe too, some love to you. Coping with motherhood, that's a big one, obviously. And working from home. Carly and Cara. Jenny, I'm with Heather above. I had my daughter 3 years ago. After being told I would never have a child, my dreams came true, but my labor was hard. My daughter was too large. She blew my hip out. Wow. Let's give some love to you. If people can share, comment to each other, give some love to each other. Just went in for total hip replacement consult because I'm not healing. I'm 35. My daughter has never had a mom full time, as I am disabled, and I am living with the fear and dread that this will be my life forever. I do not get out of bed often. I am in pain constantly. I'm unable to walk normal and don't know if I will ever again. I'm not dealing. Sounds like you are dealing. Give yourself some love and credit. But yeah, it's overwhelming for sure. In Salt Lake City, Utah, but would call Seattle my home. Moved back home after having my baby because I needed help. Well, it's great at least that you were willing and to reach out for help and that people are there for you, hopefully. Lawrence, Texas, father died in January. Came home from England to stay with my mom and help. I mean, one thing this points out to all of us, I hope, is that you're walking along an airport or a mall or streets of a city and you see everybody, and everybody's sort of on those days when we feel sad or depressed or we're going through loneliness. We can feel so alone, and yet as you're seeing here, so many people are going through so much, and gives rise to empathy, right? And when you feel empathy, immediately your own situation, it doesn't go away. It doesn't solve the physical aspects of it doesn't give you money. It doesn't give you, doesn't heal you, but it does dissolve the sort of the stress or the suffering that we have around our situation. And that is powerful. It gives us room for love and insight to occur. So Lawrence, your father died in January, came back from England to stay with my mom and help. February, my English wife in England thought I abandoned her. We separated and I'm stuck at my mom's with no job and no money. Wow. Now it's August and my mom has thrown some of my things away. She says it's her house and I can now leave. Wife has filed for divorce. I'm homeless and jobless, all for trying to help my mom. Yeah, Lawrence. So remember, you're not homeless exactly. You're without a home. You are not defined by your situation right now. But we'll get more into this. Jill from Arvada, working on lots of anxiety, uncertainty, and seeing some so close to me, and a great deal of pain and turmoil right now. Sin, I grew up in a Buddhist community in Boulder. You're fed up with your life, Flizza. I think I can't do anything, Sharad. Yeah, what Jessica said, give her some love. Yeah, Sherrod, no, it can be hard to say it. Okay, so the point here, okay, David Ryan, having PTSD in relationships which leads to distrust and ultimately feeling alone and depressed. David, Florida, thank you for your, your bravery for dealing with that and talking about it. So, first of all, there's a lot here that if I slowed down and if I allowed myself to feel this, I would cry. And I've done that on a couple of Facebook Lives, so I'm not going to do that today because while it may make for good video television, it's probably not helpful. But this is incredibly powerful, touching stuff. So for anyone listening, I hope that you can connect with this and realize that it's not depressing. Even depression is not depressing, that this kind of stuff is human. It's the human story. The Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths, and he began with life is suffering. And it's actually not a downer. It's really just saying the first step is looking at our experience in reality and acknowledging that it's hard and that it's never stable fundamentally. Even when we think it's stable, it's not stable. And that other people are going through difficult times, whether they're big difficult times like war. I was reading about thousands of young people, women going through rape and war in various situations yesterday with an article. So there's big situations and there's little ones like, I'm stressed out with my job. So 20 minutes ago, I was kind of stressed out. I've been dealing with tons of kind of neurosis and speed and people being freaked out about their jobs and money and having to hire. And then I look at all of your stories and suddenly it's not that your stories are bigger and mine are smaller. However small my situation is, I have to practice Maitri. So that's the first thing that I would request humbly for all of you to read is our blog about Maitri. And Maitri is kind of what David just showed, which is self-compassion, loving kindness, and yes, exactly what Livsa said. But breathe is fantastic advice. So we'll do that with meditation practice. We'll all do a sort of Maitri practice, which helps kind of reverse the flow of ego and heal emotional difficulty. But the first thing that's much bigger in a good way, it's sort of like saying you can have a little cookie or you can have a big cake that somehow magically you can eat the whole thing of and feel good. And that big cake is Maitri. So read about that practice of Maitri. And if you've already read the Maitri blog, there's one by Pema Chodron about Tonglen. So read that and practice meditation in Tonglen first thing in the morning and the last thing before you go to bed. And if you have trouble sleeping, it'll help that. I'm not in the business of guaranteeing stuff that's like snake oil salesman stuff, but basically when we can't sleep because of our mind and our stress and our difficult situations, you can deal with that. It is workable. There's a beautiful Buddhist sort of poem, and it says, it is the lion's roar. Everything is workable, and it's longer and beautiful. But just that notion that it is workable, what you are going through, even if it's terminal situation, you can transform it into something like love, like being present, and you can work with your situation no matter what, no matter how hard it is. And ultimately, we have no choice. The only choice really is to go the other direction and give up or commit suicide. And sadly, I don't think that is a real solution. It's painful for anyone who cares about us and our loved ones, and it's painful for us. And in Buddhism, they say you don't really go away. You're kind of just continuing your own karma. So ultimately, what we want to do is deal with our situation with bravery, but also with vulnerability, with empathy, and we want to be hopefully helpful to others. And if that's all we can do, that is a lot. So the first thing we can do is stress. Whether it's a big situation, like some of the people in these comments, you have real challenges, and we all hopefully send love to you. I know I do. And I mean that. And we do these videos every Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. MST. So if this is at all helpful, feel free to tune in. If it's not helpful, never tune in. I'm sure it's a free country. You're already out of here if it's not. And then I'll mention some of the best, hopefully, resources, these blogs in comments. And yeah, that quote really isn't enough. Quotes, Instagram stuff, Instagram spirituality, just a quote, it's not enough. It's a gateway. So you would never look at a candy shop and say the door is candy. The door is not enough. You got to walk in, get your candy, and then it's sweet. So this is a healthy candy. So if we can find that quote in the context of the blog with a greater teaching. So part of the problem with spirituality today is it's too speedy. It's become like fast food, what I call fast food spirituality. That's not going to help. So the first thing with stress is what one of you said, is breathing. And we're going to practice that at the end with 2 minutes of meditation instruction and meditation practice. But right now you could take a deep breath. So let's all do that. Take a good posture, kind of a perfect posture. Your eyes should be open. We're inviting the world in. But then relax your posture so it's no longer perfect. It's upright, but it's relaxed. And if you're in bed or a couch, if you can take a good posture as you can, even lying down, you can take a good posture. And then just take a deep breath. Try and get your breath everywhere. Don't just breathe vertically. Breathe with your ribs. Breathe out. Breathe from your belly up. All right, let's do that right now. You can breathe right into the center of any stress or tightness you're feeling. Let's do that again. It felt so good. It's good stuff, and it's free. There's nothing patented. Monsanto is not patenting breathing. There's nothing spiritual about breathing. Breathing might be spiritual, but you don't have to be Buddhist. You don't have to be Christian. You don't have to be Catholic. You don't have to be Jewish. You don't have to be Islamic. You don't have to be atheist to breathe. All of us hopefully breathe. And by breathing, I'm not just saying that this sort of shallow breath that we all get into when it's sort of fight or flight, fast food culture, a real deep, nourishing breath. But that's not enough. Just breathing is not enough. So number 2, I would say, and this goes with Maitri, maybe we could put in the blogs some good recipes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner that are easy to make, whether it's vegan or not. I'm vegan. You can be whatever you want. But good, nourishing food. And if you're in a good space with your diet, if you're wanting to be fit, if you're wanting to feel your stress and your situation ease a little bit, you need to enjoy the food. And to enjoy the food, you have to be present with the food. And to be present with the food, you need to get rid of the laptop. You need to get rid of the TV. I love eating nachos and watching a movie. You don't have to be uptight about it. This isn't a new excuse to be mean to yourself. If you want to eat popcorn or whatever you want to do, again, it's a free country. You can do whatever you want. But really try to be present with the food. And I interviewed the founder of Slow Food. Maybe we could put that in the comments. And also Peggy Markell, Slow Food Chef. And there's nothing more convivial, nothing more awakening and joyful than eating a good, simple meal. Doesn't have to be expensive. I grew up super poor with my mom. We ate very simple food. Rice and beans, that kind of stuff. Popcorn. Do that with someone you love. And if you are alone, lonely, do it with someone you love, and that can be you, right? I think there's some Woody Allen quote about that. Masturbation is sex with someone you love. I think that's the quote. But that's a different subject. All right. And then, so good, nourishing, simple food, and do it. Like last night, I made a little meal for myself, and I sat down, and I worked with my habitual pattern, which is to work or to watch a movie while I'm eating. And I just said, I want to enjoy it. Because when I enjoy my food fully without distracting myself, I eat less. I often overeat because I'm not really enjoying my food, so I have to eat more to enjoy it. So if you're having any kind of issue with your weight or overeating or emotional eating, just being present with your food is incredibly transformative and powerful. And you enjoy every bite. It's like kind of that feeling people almost are going for when you smoke. You're like, you're really enjoying that bite of, and it's not smoke, it's hopefully good for you, food. Anyway, so this stuff is super obvious and simple, but that's okay, because usually the truth is really simple and obvious. But it's also often, unfortunately, things we aren't doing. And we have to work with, as they say in Buddhism, our habitual patterns in order to be present. Number 3, and this is a weird one, but we need to do 2 kind of contradictory things, maybe even 3. And I just did a video on this, Lindsay or whomever is in the comments, on dealing with your crazy family in a way that doesn't create more craziness. But this applies to your Facebook comments if you're arguing about Trump or Hillary, or someone sent me some kind of long aggressive email about how evil Relephant is because we endorsed Hillary. And that's okay. We need to engage non-aggressively in our lives. But that's not all. Like Gandhi, like Martin Luther King, we also have to engage actively in our lives. So you need to be active, but non-aggressive. So many times when people say, if you don't have anything nice to say, like the grandma cliche, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. That is horrible advice. The British Empire tried that for a couple hundred years, the stiff upper lip thing, like never complain. Suppress any complaint. Be macho, be John Wayne. That's not healthy. You need to be able to express your truth. You need to be able to express your truth and share it. It's not really your truth, it's just your experience. And if you suppress your experience or your communication, you're going to be very stressed and bottled up. So you need to communicate. As any of you know who are in a relationship, and as all of you know who are in a relationship with yourself, your ability to communicate when things are hard is what a relationship is founded on. Communicating when things are easy and fun and romantic, that's easy, right? And fun, super fun, not denigrating it, it's great. But communicating when things are difficult, like if I'm dating, which I may or may not be, if I'm dating and someone leaves the toilet lid up, which I grew up with a single mom and I'm not into that, and I wanted to say, hey, if you don't mind, in my house, just lower the toilet lid, and I'm happy to explain why. It's kind of because of my mom, it's kind of because I'm weird, it doesn't really matter, but it's also this feng shui thing about water, and we have a blog on that, why to lower the toilet seat lid, not just the seat. So maybe put that in the comments. And so I can either express that in a non-aggressive way, I can express it in an aggressive way and make it their fault and a guilt trip, and maybe it becomes this battle, or I can express it in a non-aggressive way, or I can not express it at all and just sort of go along and try not to get in a fight, but then suddenly I'm like not expressing something. So the trick is to be able to express something non-aggressively, like it's not your fault, I'm here to explain. And as a parent, if you're a good parent or you have good parenting moments, you know that if you can say, Timmy, Rachel, you got to do it this way. That's not really great parenting. You have to say, you got to do it this way, but here's why. And here's why I care about it. And I'm also open to hearing what you think. And it doesn't have to be the school without walls, like everything is great. You can have some sense of discipline, but as in Buddhism, the word for discipline is joy. Discipline can be joyful. So like I'm an environmentalist, hopefully, and I really enjoy remembering to, compost or bike, or turn off the lights, or not use a plastic lined paper to-go cup for my coffee. I enjoy those things. I enjoy drinking coffee out of a mug and slowing down a little bit. I enjoy not wasting electricity that comes from a huge coal plant that helps cause asthma, which I had as a kid. All right, and then, so we have to communicate. So we're on the communication thing for stress. Non-aggressively, don't be a jerk, whether it's Facebook comments or personally. Don't be a jerk. It's easy. Whenever you find yourself about to be a jerk, don't say that thing. That's easy. But then you have to find a way to communicate it. So you don't bottle it up either, because that'll just cause resentment and stress. So find a way to express it and explain where you're coming from. So that's number 2. And then number 3 is you don't have to argue about everything. So like particularly with family, you know, I just visited my mom, I visited my auntie, I visited my grandma. They had their whole weird way of living, whole weird way of living, whole weird way of living, and I have my whole weird way of living, and there are weird ways of living a bump up. You don't have to argue about everything. You don't have to be right. You can just let a lot of it go and just do your thing. Like my aunt, who I love to death, if you're listening, I hope you are, you know, I like to have the window down all the time, but that doesn't let you have the AC on, and you were very generous in letting me have the window open when it worked. That's fine. I don't need to have the window open all the time, even if I want to look at the view and I love the fresh air. And I hate AC. You love AC. You want to be cool. You don't want to be sweating. That's like, you don't have to make it a battle. You can kind of just be like, whatever. 90% of your life, hopefully, you can have the hypothetical window down. You can do it your way. Like a Burger King, I think that's their motto. We'll do it your way. My way, Burger King, would be locally raised, grass-fed, non-factory farmed meat. And since I'm vegan, it wouldn't even be meat. But my way would be not being a jerk about sourcing my food. Alrighty, so those are the three things. So to review, what was the first thing? Was it breathing, meditation? I don't really remember. I've been blabbing for so long. I'm going to get back to your comments. Number 2 is eating, being present. Our newest sponsor for these videos, and this is not like some weird ad thing. We don't want to be supported by, say, Monsanto or whatever, some horrible company. We want to support mindful, cool businesses who are trying to change the world better. The business we're now being sponsored for, because these videos have been so popular, which is awesome, and that's thanks to you guys and your comments and your likes and your shares and your attention, which I know is precious. Our new sponsor is actually eco, actually compostable, actually non-GMO and organic and sustainably harvested food. So it's a food company. It's a meal delivery service. If you're super busy and crazy and you know, you don't have time to go to the grocery or to go to the farmer's market. I personally am a big farmer's market fan, but it takes time. If you don't have that time, number one, I would say you should create that time, and then you'll have community and you'll have sunshine and you'll be supporting your local farmers, and they're good people. But if you don't have that time and you have all kinds of stuff going on, you can get a meal delivery service, which is huge in the US. Most meal delivery services are horrible for the environment. They create tons of plastic waste and tons of shipping, carbon, and it's not good food and it's not good for you. This one is good for you. The packaging is pretty damn good. I think it could be slightly better. I don't like recycling plastic is really not that eco, but most of it is compostable or cardboard or whatever, so it's really good. It's far better than any other, so I'm happy to support them. And the food is all organic or sustainably sourced, and most of it from local farms. If you're in California, it's local food. So that's Sunbasket, and I think we're offering 3 free meals as a trial to every single viewer of this video. So you can find that link in the intro. So that's 3 free meals. Don't say I never did anything for you. Hopefully there's no big catch on it. I haven't really looked into it because I'm not going to ask them for free meals, but hopefully that's an awesome offer. Get 3 free meals. So let's get back to, so thank you Sunbasket, and thank you for actually giving a care about your packaging and the food and the sourcing. So eat real food. And then number 3 is being non-aggressive but communicating and letting, say, 75% of whatever bothers you just kind of slide. Let it go. We don't have to have everything be perfect in our perfect little uptight cubicle, spiritual cubicle. Alrighty, I'm going to go through comments. I'm sure I've missed a lot and hopefully address them more directly. So if you've left a comment, now's your time. So your grandma was just diagnosed with cancer. Jessica, I don't know if you're still here, Jessica. I just visited my grandma. She's 90, and she's only partly present now. And she was one of the dearest people in my life. She was there for me. Almost nobody else was there for me in my life. My mom certainly was. But, you know, losing a grandma or any loved one or any dear friend who's been there for us is a huge loss. So obviously honor your grandma by trying to spend some time with her, be there for her, do what makes her happy, getting her outside, anything you can do. And number 2, just read that blog on Maitri if you can, or practice it. I really recommend the Pema Children, like, I think they're audiobooks where you can hear her voice, or reading from Shambhala Publications. So love to you and your grandma. All right. Vicky, almost qualified as a nurse, struggling to cope with the pressure of juggling family life. So we all have that work-life balance. I am really bad at maintaining a relationship because I work way too much. Does that ring a bell for any of you? Maybe it does. I really care about my work. I'm really focused on trying to make it work and trying to pay my people well, people who work with me, my colleagues, and trying to make the world a better place. And that's difficult to do. So, side note, if you want to support elephantjournal.com/best and get our best stuff, it's free. That's how you do it, elephantjournal.com/best. So, how to juggle work and family life. Number one is find a little you time. Treat yourself. Find a little exercise time. If you can exercise, deal with stress, and feel happy, healthy, whole, then you'll be more present for your work. You'll be more present for your family. It's kind of counterintuitive because you're saying you're out of time and you're trying to juggle two big things, and I'm saying there's something else to do, but it'll just make you more relaxed and present with everything you do. And then we'll do meditation practice, which also can be super helpful in terms of being present and enjoying, and maybe to even help with their promotion, because you're more present, you're more available, you're kind of more smarter. All right. How do I process the stress of becoming a disabled person in the near future? So, Heather, obviously that's a hugely, intimately painful process of being forced to let go. But within that, you have to find your silver lining, basically. I mean, number one, I am not qualified to talk about this, but I'm losing a little bit of hair. We're all losing something, and my thing is really small, but to me it's big. And there are situations where you're forced to let go of something, and within that you have to say, I am going to let go of this, and I am going to find the silver lining. And in my case, I just have to let go of some vanity and just be like, I'm 42 and I can no longer be brilliantly good looking, if I ever was. And that's sort of it. And, I can go all Bruce Willis on y'all. Instead of, the sort of like the Trump, where you're like doing this sort of like comb over thing. Let's try and do a little Trump. And then you can pretend you're forever young. Look at that brilliant hairline. But really, you're just this walking kind of, you're not really being kind to yourself. You're not really being honest with yourself or others. So I think in a much more serious way, and I want to honor what you're going through, you have to do the same thing, which is you're being forced to let go of something kind of against your will, but you have to say, no, I'm going to let go of this, and I'm going to find the best. I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to do my exercises or my rehab. I'm going to find fun things to do, like maybe, start playing basketball in your wheelchair or whatever your situation is. Find your joy within it, and it'll be a different joy. And it might be less at first, but you can find within it a way to inspire yourself and inspire others. And at least you're in Portland, which is an amazing place to be, and I'm kind of jealous of that. So I hope that's at all helpful, and I hope you're still here, and I'm not just talking to myself. Laura, can't find full-time job, single parent, freaking out. What are you looking for? And we should help find you a job. So leave a comment. Obviously, networking is amazing. So whatever you're looking for, try and find some fun networking events. Not dumb networking events where everyone's wearing JCPenney with their tucked-in shirts, but like a fun networking event. So like here we have Naturally Boulder for the natural products food community. Companies like our sponsor. And they're super fun, people are eating good food, people are drinking, people are connecting, business cards are going, and, you can do this sort of LinkedIn networking. I'm not a huge LinkedIn fan, because it's kind of boring. It feels sort of, but I'm sure it's great and effective. And then feel brave. Post on Facebook, hey, I need some help. I'm a single parent. I have these skills. This is what I want to do. This is my right livelihood. I have a video about right livelihood that might inspire you. We can leave that in the comments. There's 4 things to right livelihood. You have to be good at it. You have to enjoy it. You have to love it. It has to be good for others, and you have to find something that will pay its way. And that's the sort of just the list. But, you know, hopefully your work can become a kind of a path to becoming a better human being who's available to this world. And I'm probably talking too much. All right. So if you just feel your anxiety, your stress, kind of like I do, I'm getting some comments like that. Meditation is fantastic. Exercise is fantastic. Eating real food. Communicating genuinely and not getting into fights and letting stuff go off, and breathing fully and deeply. Community for me is huge. That's why I love farmers markets so much. It's like for a minute I can live in a kind of co-housing environment when I go to farmers market. Yoga is fantastic. Someone mentioned yoga. Coping with motherhood, it's a huge one. Working from home can be so isolating. Again, empathy. We have a blog. Empathy is the most powerful, transformative emotion. It really is. That's not just gobbledygook on Elephant Journal, pseudo-spiritual crap. Empathy can transform my stress, and I'm getting all old and angry before my time, like what's his face in that movie? Get Off My Lawn, Clint Eastwood. So you can kind of un-Clint Eastwood yourself, he's a great guy by the way, and relax. And suddenly you care about others. As Eleanor Roosevelt said, we have a blog, Top 10 Quotes by Eleanor Roosevelt. It's by me. I love her. She was my grandma's favorite. And she said, basically, I was miserable my whole life until I discovered helping others and serving others in a very real way, not just theoretically, not just an Instagram quote, just really doing it. And from then on, I was happy, genuinely, for the first time in my life. So that's what I resolved to do for the rest of my life. I love that quote. And it's much more eloquent and short when she says it. I'm neither eloquent nor short. So, Jenny, your situation is incredibly powerful. And I mean, all you can do is what you can do, and you got to give yourself a break. You got to do your best to rehab, to heal, to do whatever you can. But you are, you know, you are a mom full-time. Even if you're dealing with your stuff, you're still loving your daughter full-time. And love is what many parents don't do. So if you love your daughter and you're feeling bad about that, give yourself some credit. I mean, I had a parent who, while a wonderful person, really wasn't there for me, and I didn't feel that love. So at least you're there as much as you can be. And probably when you're present, you're so much more present than many of us are with our children, you know, because you feel that lacking of being able to be full-time. So give yourself some love. Read that Maitri blog. Read some Pema Children. Give yourself some understanding. I mean, you're doing your best, right? And if you're not, then you can do, you can try to do some other things, but you don't need to try out of sort of being cruel to yourself. So let's all give Jenny some love. That was super powerful. And honestly, if you want to write that story and share it on Elephant, I think you inspire many people. And then your situation becomes a source of connection and empathy and inspiration for many people who are going through their own stories. If anyone wants to write and it's helpful for others, elephantjournal.com/submit. And a submit form comes up and it's really easy. All right. Lawrence. Yeah, so, I mean, if you and I were getting a drink right now, I would say, look, you're going through some real stuff. Your father died. Your mom basically wants you out of the house. Your wife felt abandoned and is divorcing you. I mean, it's kind of the situation I never had a dad, you know. I can't compare my situation to yours, but I am saying that I have my childhood, you know, single family, no money, and I've certainly never had a wife who would marry me. Only a fool. As Groucho Marx said, wouldn't want to belong to a club that would have me. But to be serious, you know, watch, what is that, My Fair Lady? Just watch the first half of that. That guy is so into his own life. Like, you can really get into your own life and independence. And if no one else was here, I kind of wish no one else was here so I could just say, man, if she doesn't love you because you're visiting your mom to help her out, maybe there's other stuff. I'm only hearing your side, but you're better for it. Just you know, it wasn't going to last anyway, maybe. And that's a tough truth to think about if she's ready to leave. And if there's other stuff you're not saying, I can't talk about that because I don't know about it. But enjoy and revel in being alone. Being alone is so great. I'm alone. I have my dog. I have my work. I have some community and friends. I love it. It's awesome. So look at the rest of your life as a blank page and, you know, say, this is what I want to do. And that's not like law of attraction stuff. That's like practically, where do I want to be? What do I want to do? Let's go for it. And if you reply in comments, I can say more. Casey Cleland, my friend, tuned in. I don't know if you're still here, but she is if you are here, Casey, leave a link to what you do because it's super inspiring and people should check it out. If you want to be inspired, you know, being inspired is one of the best ways to let go of being stressed out. All right. Yeah, Jill. So we'll hopefully address that with the meditation. So many comments. David, I did touch in with you. Yeah, so a freak out a day, Lawrence. Meditation honestly can really help. It's not like some magic pill, but it's not magic at all. You're just training your mind in the way that you can train your body when you're working out. You're just training your mind to be present. And then you can fully enjoy your meal. You can fully enjoy talking to someone. You can fully enjoy being alone. You can breathe through stress. So we have to just give ourselves a break and practice how to get through stress. All right. Yeah, there's another nice comment for you, Lawrence. There's some links. Support group chat on Elephant Journal. That's a great idea. Yeah, we could create a group, Joe 2. We do have a group, Joe 2, that you could join called Elephant Readers and Writers. And that's pretty good. You could reach out there and people could connect with you. It might be too big. But check out Elephant Readers and Writers on Facebook. But for a non-Facebooky thing, yeah, I don't know how we would do that. I mean, the best way to give us the ability to do anything, and this is, I'm not pushing, you should only do this if you want, is to subscribe. It's about $1 a month, and then we can improve our website. Right now we're independent media, so, you know, we're kind of weak in what we can do. All right. All right, lots of comments. Oh, Judy, thank you for your kind words. Yeah, fast food spirituality. All right. Yeah, Judy, we are looking at doing an event, and we kind of do that with the Academy. Anyone can join the Academy, come to think of it. That is kind of a good support group, and it's elephantjournal.com/academy. But, you know, you'll be learning and studying and kind of a new career kind of stuff a lot too, or it can help your existing career. Yeah, so emotional undereating. Cindy, I think that's probably very similar to emotional overeating, right? Either way, we need to practice actually coming back and being present with our food and nourishing ourselves so that it can solve, heal, calm our stress. And Cindy, we have some great articles. If you search, you know, thin, skinny, diet, that kind of stuff on Elephant Journal, maybe whatever editor is on right now could leave some articles about undereating or about being, you know, too thin for your weight. That's a great point. I have a blog about, I tend to overeat, not undereat, but I have a blog about how to be truly healthy and be fit or something. If Lindsay's on, she'll know the blog I'm talking about. Probably no one else will, because I'm not describing it well. Jessica, is it true? Is it honest? And is it necessary? Is what I think before I communicate. I mean, Jessica should be doing this video. That's a succinct, great list to go through. I love that. Thank you. Jill closes the toilet lid. Where's that blog? Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, so Sarah, fighting with your husband of 12 years over past anger. I mean, at some point, we have to say the past is the past, and it is a real thing, and we have to acknowledge it, and then we have to turn together in a partnership and walk forward. If you keep litigating the past, whether you're alone, in a relationship, And alone is a real thing. A lot of us guilt trip ourselves for our whole life, or say, well, my father was this way and therefore I'm this way. Well, it's no longer an excuse. Sarah, I mean, the ideal thing is to be able to walk. The Buddhist visualization of a relationship is that you're not leaning on each other. You're not trying to be two people becoming one. You're just holding hands and walking on the path of trying to be of service, trying to be mindful together. And I wrote a whole book about that, things I would like to do with you, but I also wrote a short blog about it called Love is Selfish. And it's actually a very hopeful, positive blog, so maybe we can leave that in the links. But my book, Things I Would Like to Do With You, is sort of a romantic exploration of a relationship that leaves room for change and loss and humor and independence and creativity and sexiness and all the good stuff. So Sarah, I don't think, I think that's out of my league, but basically, sounds like you're already kind of acknowledging the truth that, you know, you're fighting over past anger and creating new anger. It sort of is almost like an angry version of something like farming, where you're using, you know, you're using the manure, you're using as fertilizer and creating new crops, which is a healthy thing, but instead you're using anger to create new anger. I mean, the best way to defeat anger or your own anger is to practice drive all blames into one. And I do have a blog on that. I also have a blog on the best relationship tip for lasting relationships or something like that. It's a video on our channel. Our channel has millions and millions of views, youtube.com/elephantjournal, and then you could search relationships in there and subscribe if you like. And it may sound like we're pitching a lot, and we probably are, but everything we're doing is hopefully helpful, mindful, eco-responsible, and I actually care about it. So we're never going to pitch anything that we don't feel like is helpful or mindful for the planet, or for ourselves, our own hearts, or for others. All right. Yeah, exactly. Kind of what Jessica said again. Everyone should like friend request poor Jessica because she seems awesome. But don't friend request her because that's weird. All right, Luvsa, Miss Breathe, which I concur with. All right, we're going to do a meditation practice. Yeah, so Judy, we do videos live. I do videos live Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. MST. So thanks for asking. I do them every day, every weekday. All right, just trying to get through the comments, then we'll do meditation. How's that? Can I have my serve in Australia, please? I don't know what that means, but I want to go to Australia because I have a crush on a girl in Australia. Any ideas on how to support someone that is stressed out? Yeah, if you're trying to help someone who's stressed out, number one, just get them to breathe. Get them to do the meditation practice we're about to do. Get them to eat real food, you know, fully sitting down in a convivial or alone atmosphere, but not multitasking. And then exercise is a fantastic one, but the number three was the sort of mindful communication. And I do have a blog just on mindful communication. Kind of, what is it called? Eloquent, Buddhist speech. Something about Buddhist speech. No comb over. All right. Thank you. Many, 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 many sweet comments. I'm so glad I found this from Mary. I'm the sole caretaker of an elderly wheelchair-bound family member, and I'm ill myself. My business is failing because I'm so busy taking care of him. I definitely need ways to de-stress. It's a very isolating lifestyle right now. Well, I think you answered it. If you look at your question, isolation is tough. So when I'm in a challenge, so on that list that I just created, the 3 things, really now we have 4, right? Because exercise would be number 4, or any kind of thing where you can take care of yourself and sort of get out in nature, ideally. I don't just mean exercise like on a treadmill, like any kind of exercise where you're connecting with nature, hopefully a little bit, even just going for a walk is great. But number 5 on that list would be community. And this includes people if you're shy or insecure or introverted or anything like that. We have lots of blogs on how, I wrote a blog on how to party if you're an introvert. Not that I know, but I go to parties with introverts and I kind of help them out, and I've kind of learned from watching. And sometimes I do feel introverted. So, community. When I'm struggling, like say a friend of mine is mad at me because I did this thing and probably I shouldn't have done that thing, but I kind of was trying to do this other thing and it came out like wrong, and then this friend is mad at me. So I had this whole situation with my friend and I'm all stressed out and feeling bad about it. Well, so whatever your stress is about, you have that situation, then you go, say, to a cafe or to farmer's market or to some outdoor cinema, go to some community thing where you're going to run into random people, and people ask you, oh, how you doing? And the first time maybe you grunt, oh, I'm stressed out. Second time maybe you say, oh, I'm stressed out. Third time you say, well, I'm stressed out because of this and that, and I'm challenged with this. Fifth time someone asks you, you're like, well, yeah, I just don't know what to do because I have this situation. I really want him to forgive me, or I want to explain. And then, this is my experience. Just hanging out in a cafe for an hour or two, and I'm completely de-stressed because you're kind of, you're standing, you're working, you're moving, you're connecting with community. Go to a bookstore. It doesn't have to be a cafe. Wherever you're comfortable, go to your community, and before you know it, your mind will begin to process your own stress and wrap it. Your mind will be able to wrap its mind around how to handle it. So, Mary, again, read that blog on Maitri, and first of all, know that you're doing a lot. You're taking care of someone who's dependent on you. You are ill, and you have a business that is struggling. So you got a lot going on. So the first thing you can do is give yourself some credit. Wow, pat yourself on the back. I'm going to pat you on the back. Everyone should give you a like or whatever. Again, it's symbolic, it's meaningless, but sharing some love is all we can do on Facebook comments. So some love to you, and know that you're, again, you just got to give yourself some love and credit. Maitri is good stuff. Read that blog on Tonglen. All right, Eleanor. I know, I want to name one of my kids Eleanor. My hypothetical kids. I struggle with empathy. Yes, Sarah Ann Sawochka Dalton, my favorite comment yet. I struggle with empathy. I tend to take on other people's troubles and it gets me down. So that, Tonglen will address that. So when you take on someone's energy, there's a way to process that. So you can just keep doing it and transforming it. Right now, you're only doing the first half, which is fantastic. You're empathetic, you take it on, but then you let it sit on you and then you get depressed. Instead, you have to take it on and give it away, kind of. That's Tonglen. Tonglen is amazing. It's not some big hippie weird spiritual thing. It's super transformative and practical, and it reverses the flow of ego, where we want to keep away bad and cling to good, and therefore we ruin both. We ruin love by clinging to it. We never deal with our challenges because we try and push them away, which makes them bigger. So the second blog, Sarah, I would love for you to read, or Sarah Ann, is idiot compassion. I wrote about idiot compassion. It's not saying you're an idiot. It's the Buddhist term where we are compassionate but in an unskillful way, and it winds up not being good for people. So you can draw a line around your empathy and say, I'm not going to be empathetic or helpful to people when it's not good for them. If they're just taking advantage of it, that is idiot compassion. All right. Sarah Ann, I was in foreclosure. I worked as a housing counselor helping people who were in the process of foreclosure. I would take on their stories and couldn't let it go at the end of the night. That's because you care and you're a sweet person. I think you're awesome. I had to quit because I couldn't take the stress anymore. You couldn't take not processing the stress anymore. You could take the stress endlessly if you know how to process it, because then it just becomes sort of fuel for love. Like, really, your empathy is love, and you were super loving, but then you didn't know how, you felt responsible. You know these people are going through horrible, hard things, and you can't help all the time. You can't do everything for everyone. So I understand. And again, Maitri, give yourself some credit, some loving kindness. Read that Maitri blog, hopefully. All right. How do you deal with people who you love, who have a negative way of looking at life without it affecting your life? Well, their way of life is not contagious on you. That's kind of a little bit of an egotistical way of looking at things. So you just have to remember you have your kind of constructive, positive way of looking at your life and dealing with yourself, and they have theirs, and that's their deal, and they can make choices to improve that or not, and you're going to do your thing. And that includes being empathetic and trying to help but, you know, read that Idiot Compassion blog. Or I'm going to try and leave because I think people are getting tired of me. Tiffany. So many comments. Wow. Judy, explain more. Yeah, a Google group. But Carolyn, I don't know if anyone does that. Google groups are not cool. Heal the old hurts. All right. Yeah, the Buddhist idea of marriage. Jessica, thank you. Someone could put that in the comments. What editor is on? Editors never sign on. Judy, great comments. 3 free meals. Wait, oh, so Lovsa, the 3 free meals is only for California folks? That's not cool. I mean, that's very cool for California folks. All right. I'll be doing this again at 11 a.m. MST, or you can find any of them on youtube.com/elephantjournal, but they're not live, obviously. All right. There are so many more comments. This has been very cool. Yeah, anxiety is just sort of when you're starting to tell stories and figure out your stress. Anxiety, in a way, is sort of helpful. It's like your neurotic mind is trying to figure out its way through stress. So you're kind of processing, but you can do even better, which is coming to the present moment, which is the meditation practice. There are so many comments. All right. Let's do meditation and wrap up for today, because we all have to get out there in the world and do our thing. Or be in there in the world and deal with our thing. Or both. So join me in meditation if you like. If you don't like, now's a good time to leave, because things are about to get boring and present. But the boringness is, so first of all, we have this hunger for constant entertainment. We're on our phones and we're walking. Don't do that. Just walk. Just look at the trees. Moments of insight and joy and new, fresh air will arise in your mind and your heart. So give yourself a break from screens. All right, so take a good posture, rock your sit bones back and forth until you feel kind of stable but relaxed. Take a great posture, but then relax. Great posture, relax. Hands just flat on your thighs. Eyes open. If you're commenting, let's not comment anymore. Let's just meditate, and then you can watch this. It'll be recorded on youtube.com/elephantjournal or on Elephant Journal itself under Walk the Talk Show. You can also watch my interviews with Deepak Chopra or Michael Pollan or whoever. Hundreds of people. Ariana Huffington, who I guess just retired today. So let's meditate. So good posture, eyes open. This is shamatha, resting meditation. Resting in what? Resting in the present moment. Breathe in. Breathe out. If you have any questions that I haven't answered, remember that all questions can be resolved in the present moment. They really can. It's kind of a magical moment. Breathe in. Breathe out. And they can be resolved through the 5 things, one of them being community. Breathe in. Breathe out. So if you find yourself distracted, as I am, by new comments, which is fine, they're welcome. You can label your distraction. Oh, I'm thinking. I'm trying to help. I'm blabbing, thinking. And return your attention to your breath. Breathe in. Breathe out. It's very simple. If you find yourself thinking, acknowledge silently to yourself, oh, I'm thinking. Return your attention to your breath. It's a light attention on your breath, in and out. Let's just try that for a minute. Then at the end, we'll do one final thing and we'll be out. If you find your body naturally expanding and relaxing as you touch in with your breath and bring your attention back from thoughts, you're on the right path. Okay, so finally, we can put our hands together, or you can put your hands on your lap, and we can offer a bow of respect and love and support for everyone and all your comments, everything you're going through. If you can like or share this or invite your friends to tune in, that's great. And offer a bow of respect and a reminder of our mission, which for all of us, an elephant, is to be a benefit. When I'm a benefit, I can experience true joy. So like my teacher, the Sakyong, says, if you want to be happy, think first of others. And that can include yourself, but help others. If you want to be unhappy, think only of yourself. So the way to reverse the flow of ego is to think about others and yourself and the planet, and be compassionate and empathetic and actually be helpful. And the way to be miserable, if we want to do that, is to just obsess about me. What about me? As the Sakyong says. So thank you so much, and I'll see you tomorrow, possibly, if you're here. 11 a.m. MST and youtube.com/elephantjournal. And thank you to our first Mindful Eco sponsor, Sunbasket.